Not sure if you saw this, Francesca, but Elon Musk, the details of his procreation have come out to the Wall Street Journal. I had said before, like, there's no evidence that he's ever had sex, right?
No,
because
still none.
In this article, there is a claim by Ashley St. Clair that they had sex. So we now have one piece of evidence. I still think we need a little bit more corroboration to determine it. But unfortunately, this is where we have to go in this conversation. Elon Musk having sex and his sexual proclivities are the subject of it. So trigger warning, gag warning for anybody.
Is sexual proclivities or is reproductive proclivities maybe a better way to phrase it?
That's probably a better way to phrase it, because it's also just like an absolutely insane ideology called natalism I want to explore. But let's go through some of what the Wall Street Journal found. This is a pretty insane piece, and it looks like the Journal is the paper that's getting all the leaks now. Like Maggie Haberman's on the outs with the New York Times with the Trump administration. So Wall Street Journal is where they're going, at least thus far in the first less than 100 days. But here's how the article opens. It's entitled, "The Tactics Elon Musk Uses to Manage His Legion of Babies and Their Mothers." Ashley St. Clair wanted to prove that Elon Musk was the father of her newborn baby. But to ask the billionaire to take a paternity test, the right-wing social media influencer had to go through Musk's longtime fixer, Jared Burchell. I don't want my son to... well, you find out later he's a
cum carrier.
What'd you say?
He's the cum carrier. I mean, he's the sperm boy. He carries it, because we know that he has offered his semen to multiple people. You can't carry that much semen around. It gets everywhere. You gotta
refrigerated suitcase.
They're calling him the cum caboose. They're calling him the cum caboose.
The cum caboose. Oh God, that is, don't put that into search.
I switched to the private link right before we started saying the word cum. I'm very happy about that.
Yes, good job, Russ. Quick on the draw. But okay, so a longtime fixer, Jared Burchell. "I don't want my son to feel like he's a secret," St. Clair told Burchell in a 2-hour phone call in December. Burchell offered St. Clair some advice. His boss was very big-hearted, kind, and generous person, he said. But Musk had a different side. When a mother of his child goes the legal route in these discussions, that always leads to a worse outcome for that woman than what it would have been otherwise, Burchell told the 26-year-old. Plus, he said Musk wasn't sure the child was his. It was the first such conversation for Burchell. His public job is running Musk's family office, and he recently helped organize Musk's more than $250 million push in support of Donald Trump's election. Behind the scenes, Burchell also manages the financial and privacy details Musk wants for the women raising the world's richest man's babies.
Now, this is some family values.
Oh, yeah. Musk has had at least 14 children with 4 women, including the pop musician Grimes and Siobhan Zillis, an executive at his brain computer company Neuralink. Multiple sources close to the tech entrepreneur said that they believe the true number of Musk's children is much higher than publicly known. Screaming. just endless screaming when we hear about that.
Can you imagine? Look, okay. In Argentina, during the Dirty War, they kidnapped people who were pregnant. They had their babies and then they disappeared, killed the mothers, right? And then they were given to an army officer to be raised, right? And these kids then found out decades later that, oh my God, my parents were killed in the Dirty War.
Right.
That's bad. But imagine finding out that Elon Musk is your dad. 20 years on, I'd be like, I wish it were a general from the military junta. Why? It would be so disturbing.
It would be something that would convince me to get Neuralink so I could get brain damage so that I would forget that fact.
100%.
Okay, just scroll down a little to the part that starts with "in Musk's dark view of the world." This is where, to me, it gets from a salacious story to one that's concerning. "In Musk's dark view of the world, civilization is under threat because of a declining population. He is driven to correct the historic moment by helping seed the earth with more human beings of high intelligence, according to people familiar with the matter. His businesses are set up to serve the idea. The main objective of SpaceX is to build a rocket ship capable of getting to Mars, and his other companies.
I'm sorry. That's not what it's doing. No. They're trying to monopolize sort of low Earth space transit and stuff like that. The Mars thing is for rubes.
Yeah. But that's how the journal describes it. But Musk refers to his offspring as a legion, a reference to the ancient military units that could contain thousands of soldiers and were key to extending the reach of the Roman Empire.
Anonymous must be so pissed right now.
I mean,
I thought they were the original legion.
If you heard a man on the street talking about his children as his legion and a Roman Empire that's going to take over the planet, you would think that person was having a mental episode. Yeah?
I just there's no, I'm sorry. I hate to be just a bleeding feminist here, but the idea, only men do this kind of crap. Number one, right? Like the idea that your offspring are precious and amazing, like the guy who inseminated a bunch of his own patients, the IVF doctor, with his own semen because he felt like he needed to have a bunch of children, lied to the families. I'm just like, this is a pathology of fragile masculinity. Like, calm down. Everything's fine. You don't need to have that many children. Your sperm is not sacred, sadly. Sorry for the Monty Python fans.
Yeah, there's this guy, Jan Karbat, a Dutch fertility doctor, who in 2019, DNA tests revealed that 49 people conceived using donor sperm matched with Karbat. By 2020, at least 61 offspring had been matched with Karbat, many of whom were connected via social media. Suspect it could be upwards as much as 200. Jeffrey Epstein, I just want to say, had the same sort of I want to inseminate as many people as possible because I want to live on through a legion of people that I've brooded.
It's narcissism. There's also this Netflix documentary called The Man with 1,000 Kids, which talks about this. It's about this guy who's a Dutch blonde man.
That's this Karbat guy.
Oh, it's the same person.
Guy, yeah.
This guy's named Jonathan Major.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, there's different. This is a whole online. Yeah, this is a whole online right-wing community that it starts not being right-wing, and there's a lot of stuff about natural procreation and natural foods. I mean, it's RFK adjacent.
Always with an anxious eye at minority birth rates.
Well, that's where I wanted to get to. Yeah, it's fine. Just there's a part of this article that addresses that, but these are always, they seem to tend to be all white men obsessed with this concept for the most part, with the natalism piece, and it's also a huge issue. This guy Jonathan Major highlighted in this, also a Dutch man, I think. Maybe it's the same person, I'm not sure, but I'm not. We'll look into it. He was donating his sperm to hundreds of couples across the globe, but also within the same communities. And it presents a really dangerous situation because there are psychological analyses that show that sometimes people who, siblings that have never met, they're drawn to each other because of shared traits and may experience attraction. And there's a possibility that they could get together and procreate, and that creates a really dangerous genetic situation.
Ooh, next White Lotus dropped.
That's different people, by the way.
Different people. So there you go.
Dutch guys.
Different weird Dutch guys. But to just bring it back to the idea that this is about racism and why this is an important story, in my view, to talk about this natalist thing, in the same way that it's important to talk about the network state and the way that the tech oligarchs are obsessed with the idea of this monarchical presidency and how it fits so neatly with Project 2025. This natalism stuff is also a very neat fit into both Christian and white nationalism. Let's go to the part where that starts with Musk has warned that civilization is going to crumble. Musk has warned that civilization is going to crumble if people don't start having more children, a view popularized as pronatalism in right-wing circles. The pronatalism movement is composed of people concerned about the birth rate and eager to implement policy and cultural solutions to the problem. Martin Varsavsky, a friend of Musk's who has founded a large chain of in vitro fertilization clinics in the U.S., said he has spoken to Musk about the risks of failing birth rates. Without babies, there's no future, blah, 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 blah. Speaking to an audience at an investment conference in Saudi Arabia last year, Musk laid out the urgency of the matter. I think for most countries, they should view the birth rate as the single biggest problem they need to solve. If you don't make new humans, there's no humanity, and all the policies in the world don't matter, Musk told the crowd over a live video. When the interviewer joked that Musk was doing his part to address the issue, the billionaire agreed. Yes, I am. You've got to walk the talk. So I do have a lot of kids, and I encourage others to have a lot of kids. Separately, Musk has said that he is concerned about what he called third world countries having higher birth rates than the US and Europe.
Yeah.
A person with the conversation said, one of the most important ways to change these dynamics, he has repeatedly told people close to him, is for educated people to have more children. Educated. Now, I'm going to open this up in a sec, but I want to make sure people understand this point. This is how Elon Musk views the rest of the world, because he understands that the world population is growing. That's not in dispute. But when he talks about birth rates, he means certain kinds of birth rates. Certain kinds of people are not procreating enough because we have to outnumber Black and brown people. That is what is implicit there. And yes, in the United States, it's around like 1.66 children per woman is the average. 2.1 is the figure that would be needed to sustain a population. There's a great piece on this that's written by June Sternbach on their Ghost. It's like a Substack thing where I encourage people to read that. But that's true. But that's when you exclude immigration. So they want more white babies, basically. And this is a eugenicist view that is held by the world's richest man, who was installed in the government by the president of the United States, who has the power to wage war in these countries that have the population growing at a rate that is unappealing to Elon Musk and the other white nationalists. Like, this could inform why they cut off USAID and didn't care about all those babies getting HIV. This informs the continued support for the Israeli genocide in Gaza. This also informs the rolling back of women's rights, the getting rid of abortion and reproductive capacity, because they want women to not have as much control over whether or not they get pregnant or not, so that they can recreate the kinds of babies that these freaks envision. So these fascist movements all have like the same root, right? And it's just disgusting that Elon Musk got so rich based off of government subsidies because of the short-sightedness of Democrats, frankly.
Welfare queen.
Yeah. So
he's a welfare queen, just kind of spitting out a bunch of babies to collect a bigger check from the government. I also think we need to spread the word that Elon is a virgin, just like he is a bad gamer. So put that out there, because he will absolutely respond to it and get upset about the suggestion.
No evidence.
But there is no evidence that he's actually, God, I can't say what I want to say, but, that he's actually, like he's done it.
That the P has gone into the V.
Yeah, the P has not gone into the V in E's world. I actually met baby Musk. I was on a Piers Morgan panel the night before the election, the day before. I was on with Ashley St. Clair, and I'd never met her, right? And I was just like, she was just kind of squawking in my ear a lot. And like, Piers didn't even direct real questions to her. The best part about the entire thing was that after, there was a little baby outside being watched by what seemed to be her mom. And he was kind of climbing on some stuff. And I was like, oh, he's so cute. And then a couple months later, I realized it was Spawn. And that was absolutely terrifying to know. But, and this is the kind of thing where you're like, I support these MAGA. I want to, again, the feminism in me wants to be like, yeah, honey, that's what happens when you have sex with a forced birther psycho fascist.
Or are inseminated by, let's just be clear.
Or inseminated by, no P and V. And I'm also reminded of, Andrew Tate, while he was stateside, before he went back to Romania, actually did manage to get a sexual assault in his busy schedule. And according to the woman, he screamed at her during sex that started consensual and was not consensual during it. He screamed at her, let me put a baby inside you. Right. So like, again, sexual assaulters, abusers, rapists, misogynists, the, manosphere. the protonatalists. It's all very connected. And then the other thing is they're all shitty dads. Like, none of them actually want to take care of their kids. None of them want to pay their kids. You got Grimes out here tweeting back at Elon Musk, please, there's an issue of our child's health. Ashley St. Clair says that Elon, took back a bunch of money that she owed him for child support. At least the weirdos in Texas on the Texas ranches would corral their spawn and, take care of them in one place. Obviously illegal and holding people against their will. But there's at least a little bit of a veneer of we want to take care of the children that we spawn.
But yeah, that's not what he's interested in. Apparently, at one point, we don't even need to put this up, but Tiffany Fong, the crypto influencer, received a DM from Elon asking if she was interested in having his child, according to people familiar with the matter. The two had never met in person.
Amazing.
And you bring up
And she said no, and then he stopped her payments for Twitter, whatever the blue check services.
Oh, he took away her blue check?
And then it was like $20,000, I think, a month maybe, that she was getting. And it's like, sorry, you need to have my child in order to do this.
After he had basically started profiling her, she was making $21,000 on Twitter. And then after profiling her, and I think he was posting about her, retweeting her, he DM'd her. She said no, and then he cut off that money. Isn't that a beautiful, that metaphor is exactly what we're describing.
That's perfect.
It's perfect, right? He doesn't even need to know her, and he's already retaliating against her reproductive freedom by taking money away. And he doesn't even know the woman.
And the thing with he definitely doesn't want births in Africa as a sort of exile Afrikaner, but here in this country, he also doesn't want poor people to procreate. Anyone who's attacking something like Medicaid, which covers up to 40% of the births, 50% in rural areas, wants a certain kind of people to be having kids. And it is freaks like him and Jeffrey Epstein and all the other billionaires. And they think of it. I mean, I would love to get these guys on a hot mic talking about how they actually see themselves, because I think they see themselves as sort of like gods or Ubermen or something like that. And come on, say it.
He said the educated piece in the article that he wants educated people. That's code for wealthy white people, right? Yeah.
And we're all we also need to understand we're living in the backlash of the Me Too movement. We still are living in this backlash. We've empowered the worst people. We've uplifted them to the point that, the richest man in the world can bully a woman on DM into having his kid and then retaliate against her for publishing on a platform. I mean, it goes against everything that ostensibly the right believes in. Free speech, the right to make money, hustle, grind set, mindset, using our social platform, like all of that. But again, we're in this Me Too backlash movement because men were asked to have a modicum of accountability for their crimes, and they were like 9 and became Nazis.
And got reelected to the White House, including Donald Trump, who's been found liable of sexual assault against E. Jean Carroll in court, and then seemingly gratuitously appointed somebody who has a police report against him for sexual assault, Pete Hegseth, to be the head of the Department of Defense, who had no experience. And, one part of me wants to say that Trump values that in him because it's a piece of blackmail and he likes people that are controllable. And I think that's part of it. But it's also in conjunction with letting Andrew Tate back into the country. I love how he says, I can't get Kilmar Abrego Garcia out of El Salvador. What can I do? But I can no problem bringing this, rape salesman back into the country, Andrew Tate. It's obvious what they're trying to show. It was obvious when he was openly fantasizing about Kamala Harris getting beat up by a boxer or, calling her stupid. That is what we're back to at this moment, like a very reactionary, violent posture towards women. And the administration engenders it. And I think it's a conscious choice because just even Donald Trump's political career is an example of how far we need to go in feminism. The fact that he can get away with what he can get away with, and he has just a woman we know would never be able to get away with any of what he does in politics. One misstep and Kamala's the stupidest person alive, and Donald Trump can blow microphones and get away with it. That's not an accident. That's not.
To be fair, if I ever run for office, I will be blowing a microphone. It's part of my stand-up.
For equality.
For equality.
Thank you for being so brave. Ramona Frankenstein, as a trans woman, nothing brings me more joy than the notion that I eliminated a white man from this world. Suck it, Elon. I'm also infertile now because of HRT. Go cry about it, dumbass.
I mean, that's the real thing that the family values thing, where, I mean, Trump is his own case, but Elon Musk calling one of his sort of vibrant children dead to him because they're trans. You're despicable. You've failed, and you are not a model. You're a tragic, a tragic example.
Yep.
There's also the couple, the couple, I think this is Simone and Malcolm Collins, who get written up all the time. They're these protonatalists. And I think it was either the Washington Post or the Atlantic or one of these very long little fluff pieces about these people. She practically wears bonnets. Halfway through the article, she's at dinner with them, and he open hand slaps his 3-year-old across the face at dinner. And you're like, excuse, what? So it's not just, again, they are bad parents. They are abusive. They don't care. They care about numbers, but the children are, their rights, their autonomy, their happiness, totally secondary.
Yeah,
it's very disturbing.
They are numbers, and it's like all those kids, if they don't go on to procreate and pass his genes down, they're less valuable to him than he thought they would be.
And that's why he has daughters, including his trans daughter, but a majority of the kids that he has sired are boys because he's doing this natural gender selection thing.
Oh, was that updated? I thought his trans daughter was his only daughter.
I think we mistakenly maybe both said that one time, but I think he might have one or two others, but one of them is a twin, like it could have been from IVF.
One of them's a twin, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a strong, the trend is still pretty pronounced.
Yes.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.